Hey everybody, we are back with another video, and as you can see we've got a little bit different of a setup today, so hopefully this video works out well. Today we're going to be talking about another retro handheld. Currently it's part of my daily kit, carry with me everywhere I go to get into some quick games here and there when I can, and it's pretty portable but not super portable. And in my opinion, it's the device that most resembles the original Game Boy. I think you might be able to determine what I'm talking about, but if you can't, you'll find out soon. Now, I keep it in this little carry case. It's super protective, and it's actually not meant for this particular device. But the thing I love about this carry case the most is the pocket in the front, in which I keep a charging cable to make sure that I have the ability to charge the device anywhere I go. So we'll open it up here, and this is the Anbernic RG351V. Now, this is not a new device on the market, and so we're not going to go over exactly what the specs are for the processor and the RAM memory and the storage or the screen resolution, but suffice it to say that it is one of my favorite handheld devices. Now, this particular device I have completely customized. Obviously, if you have seen this device before, it doesn't typically look like this. All of these customizations came from an online retailer from France, I believe, and I'll drop the notes below in the video description area so that you guys can link to his store, and if you want to customize your RG351V in the same way that I did, you can. There's a bunch of different options. I purchased a bunch of different options. This is the one that I like the most. And if you flip the device over on the back, you'll see that in addition, I've also added the classic 800 service number and a Zelda decal on the back. So obviously the 351V is not new to the market. However, it is pretty new to me, and it's one of the most versatile handhelds on the market today. So first off, right from the front, we've got a 640 by 480 resolution screen, which is great for retro handhelds, and we have a D-pad which is great response. Anbernic always comes through with a great response D-pad. No problem with fighting games here. And one of the best things about this device, in my opinion, is the travel of your A, B, X, Y buttons and the tactile response. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but boy, is that a satisfying click when I click those buttons. And that's a lot of what I'm looking for the feel in the hand for a device like this. All the other buttons on this device are firm, but not too firm. Lots of good travel, and even the analog stick here feels good on the thumb, and that's right, it's got a click in it. So we have another activation button there for anything we want to program. Now, one of the immediate things you're going to notice about this device is its resemblance to the original Game Boy, even so far as to put a single mono speaker in the bottom right hand corner with the speaker grill that resembles the unit. So obviously there's a lot of sentimentality here and a lot of nostalgia when I've got this device in my hand, and it just feels good to use it. On the side we have our typical TF card slots from Anbernic, one internal, one external. Obviously the internal is going to be your OS drive, and your external is going to be your external storage meant for any ROMs or any other data that you want to hold on this device. Our power button on the top and a reset button just beneath that. On the other side we've got our typical volume rocker up and down. Boy, would I have liked to have an analog wheel instead of the up and down rocker, but I guess this is the direction they went. On the bottom we've got a charging port for USB-C, an OTG port for connectivity to a computer or other devices, and a 3.5mm audio jack. No buttons on the top, and if we turn over to the back side of the unit, we will see L1 and R1 and L2 and R2 buttons back here in an interesting design choice where they place those buttons at half height for the device and build out a little notch in the back here. Now, a lot of people think this design is a little controversial, and I can tell you that in my hands it feels great. Perfect button placement. I hold the bottom of the unit with my 2 fingers down here. Perfect placement with my fingers up here in order to press those shoulder buttons, and man, does that feel good in the hand. I mean, good weight, good clicky buttons, not analog triggers of course, but good click. Great feel in the hand for this device. So with that said, let's turn it on. Talk a little bit about the software that's installed on this guy. Now, as with most of these retro handheld devices, specifically Anbernic devices, the software that comes from Anbernic on the device when you purchase it is a little half-baked. Just like the software that is on the Powkiddy V90, the software that comes with the Anbernic 351V isn't totally there. It's a little bit not as streamlined as we'd like it to be. But as always, the custom firmware community comes together and produces a firmware that is fantastic. And the 350V is no different. There is a custom firmware called 351elec, which is running on this device. Currently, they've changed a couple names back and forth, and the project's been stopped and started a couple times, as is common with community development. But currently they're called Anbernic, and I think it's perfect because they're starting to develop custom firmwares for devices not just the 351V or the 350 or the 280V or any of those Anbernic devices, but now they've also started to include the RG552, which takes them outside the 351 area, so the name change is appropriate. But in my opinion, this custom firmware is the best custom firmware to be running on the 351V, and I'm going to tell you why. Not only does this device and its custom firmware support a multitude of retro handheld and console systems, but the interface itself for managing the custom firmware is better than anything else. The settings that you have in here are fantastic, super versatile. There's a lot of different customization you can do with this particular device, and they've also built in the ability to download and install all kinds of applications, games, and themes for 351elec or Anbernic if you like. The theme we're using today is the Carbon Book 4x3 theme. So it's just the one that looks the best to me. I'm a fan of this particular artwork, and that's what I'm using. Though you'll see that there are several that I have installed here, and this is not the full list of themes that are available for this custom firmware. So I encourage you to go out and check it out. People are continuing to develop all kinds of applications and themes for this particular custom firmware, so it's an active development, which is great because it can breathe new life into your device if you've had it for a while. And there are a lot of specific customizations you can make with this firmware. I'm not going to go through all of them. There are other videos out on the internet that will explain to you very specifically exactly how to get this running, exactly how to configure it, but I'm here just to give you my take on what is best and what is better and what is not so great. So that's what we're going to do today. One of the things that I really enjoy about this custom firmware is that it has a built-in scraper that can take advantage of the Wi-Fi chip and antenna in this device and automatically go out and scrape for your games and their box art and all kinds of other art that you may or may not want to include. In addition to all of that, it also has the ability to update over the air via your Wi-Fi chip in this device, and that is huge. You can't get any better than that. You really can't get any better than that in a custom firmware, because that is a huge benefit to be able to provide over-the-air updates and not have to flash your device or your SD card every time you want to run an update. I think that's great. I think the ability to have it here is fantastic, and it's nothing that should ever be done away with on any custom firmware. If you can build that in, that will extend the life of all of the devices that you're going to develop for. So in addition to over-the-air updates, this custom firmware also includes retro achievement integration, which if you're a fan of retro achievements, great, fantastic. I don't necessarily subscribe to that way of thinking, but I know a lot of people do. I'm a bit of a purist when it comes to these retro games. I think that if there were no online achievements when the games were developed and built, that keeping a log of retro achievements is fun and cool, but not really something that I'm interested in. So great for you guys who love that, but it's just not something that I am and I'm gonna be really using. But just to give you a little bit of some performance demo here, we'll go into Super Nintendo, and obviously you can see, I don't know if you can hear that, but every time you browse to a game, I have it set so that it's downloaded videos, and you will get a little preview of the game on video. Now, obviously, I've been using this for quite a while and have a few Super Nintendo games on here, all legitimate cartridge backups, mind you. We'll go right into the game that I like to use for testing, because it's one of my favorites, and I know it's kind of silly, but I'm a big fan of Star Fox, and it's great because it also tests the Super FX chip capability of these devices. So this is no change, no stock editing, nothing. This is just how the game performs. You'll see I've got a frame counter up in the top right hand corner. Now that you'll see that we're dipping down a little low here, right? But we'll soon pick up. Now, if you guys know anything about Star Fox specifically, this is the screen that tests a lot of whether or not a device is going to be able to play this game right here. I can tell you on other devices, the audio that comes from this screen and the frames per second that are displayed while displaying this particular screen is really a make or break for a device. Let's get into it. I don't know about anybody else, but this brings back a lot of memories from when I was a kid. Get a little bit of cracking on the audio there. See the frames per second dip a bit. Most notable in the audio, right? Oh, missed it. You can see that the frames are dipping consistently throughout the gameplay, right? Not up at 60, it's more around 50, 52, 55, something like that. Here's the thing. Not perfect. Completely playable. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Right? That all that on-screen activity stresses this just a little bit. Now here's the thing. That's great, right? So it works, kinda. Playable, but not perfect, right? Wow. That was RetroArch. As you can see, when I went to exit there, you saw a little RetroArch screen pop up. It asked me to press select and start again to exit for sure. Well, here's what's so great about this particular firmware. Specifically, for each game, you can edit and change what emulator you would like to use for that specific game. It's not system-wide, it's not console-wide, it's not anything else other than specific games. And not only are you able to use the different RetroArch cores, but you're also able to install individual standalone emulators if you want to. Now, I haven't done that, and the reason is because I know that it's this one. I think so. .59 frames per second. Steady. 58. But you can already see a little bit of slowdown, a little bit of stutter. But not as much, right? Hop right in. You can see the difference. How much more fluid is that? How much better is that gameplay? Much better. You immediately tell the difference. Is it perfect? No. But it's consistently at 58.83 frames per second. Little dip. But definitely better gameplay. And here's the thing, with a little bit more time and a little bit more effort, just a couple more seconds, you'll be able to get it in perfect gameplay. Try different cores, edit the settings just a little bit, a little tweaking, a little play, and you'll be able to get this gameplay perfect. I mean, it's near perfect right now, right? Near perfect. Near perfect gameplay. And again, same way to exit. So that's just a little taste and a little tidbit about how this device is going to be able to perform. Now, your results are going to vary depending on what game you play and what you're trying to do with this particular device. And each one of the different consoles and systems has its own quirks and nuances that you might have to edit. I encourage you to get more information. I encourage you to look more. And if you're looking to get a upgraded device from the Powkiddy V90 that will do more and be able to play more and have a more robust catalog of retro games that you can play, I would point you to the RG351V. The price for this device is very reasonable. I've seen it on Amazon.com with Prime 2-day shipping as low as $105. And, you know, if things are tight, you can always save up $5 here and there and get yourself a device like this and off you're away with really anything throughout the entire Super Nintendo catalog. NES is a breeze. N64 can be difficult with some games, but certainly you can get through most of the catalog there. PlayStation is a breeze. The only caveat to PlayStation is this device obviously only has one physical analog stick, so you're limited there with the physical hardware. But for an all-around retro game device, this is the one that I keep in my bag. It's the kit that I carry with me everywhere I go right now. Obviously, that could change. Who knows what's coming in the future, but that could change. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you like, you can subscribe to our channel to keep up to date on any other videos that we're going to be making. I plan to release a video once a week, so if you enjoy them, go ahead and click that button. If not, that's cool too. We're going to keep making these videos and hope you enjoy them. We'll see you on the next video.